Hello YouTube, it's Barbara Jean. I have to make a little amendment from my last video. I made a couple of errors, or an error about the two witnesses. I got my eschatology a little mixed up. It's been a while since I read the book of Revelation, and information like that doesn't seem to stay in my head. But nonetheless, the two witnesses actually show up after the rapture of the church, which is in Revelation chapter 7 or 8. Let me just check that for you. 7 or 8. My computer is so slow right now. I don't understand why it's not working very. It's like I'm scrolling and it's like scrolling through mud. It's just not working particularly well. However, let me just leave it. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother. It's just taking too much time. So anyway, the rapture of the church happens at when the 144,000 Jewish men on the earth are sealed for their mission of spreading the gospel or the last days message, preparing the people, telling them what had happened with the church. The church had been raptured. So they are left, they are sealed so that no one could harm them. But also the two witnesses show up after the rapture of the church. So I think 3.5 years pass because the two witnesses are given, and also the 144,000 are given 2.5 or 3.5 years time to witness to the world. And the two witnesses are in Jerusalem at the temple. That's where they're doing their witnessing from the city of Jerusalem. After the birth of this child in heaven, of the bride of Christ, then that is when Satan is thrown down, the two witnesses are killed, the 144,000 are raptured. They're raptured in chapter 14, as well as the two witnesses. They are raptured in chapter 14 of the book of Revelation. I wanted to make that amendment because I had gotten my eschatology wrong. Also, one other thing I wanted to bring up about this flat earth thing, that has something that's been bothering me. One of these things that you hear, and then subconsciously you're thinking, oh, there's something a little wacky about it. Something that has been bothering me for the last few years since I've been on YouTube, and I've been really looking, when we look at these comments, there's been a lot of comments hitting the sun. There was a lot of, on the news, there was a lot of information about these comets suddenly showing up and hitting the sun, and the size of these comets. And what's been bothering me, and I made a comment on somebody else's video, there's something that's been bothering me, and that thing that has been bothering me is that the size of the sun, there's something wacky about what they're saying about the size of the sun or the size of the comets that have been hitting the sun. Because they said, well, these comets are like the size of a football field, or the comet is the size of Mount Everest or something, and it hits the sun with such velocity, and all this mass solar plasma starts spewing out in big time. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, something's a little wacky, because if something the size of a football field or something the size of Mount Everest hit the sun, how could it even make an impact, especially if it's mostly made up of ice, or even if it was made up of solid rock? If they're saying the sun is hot as they say it is, then it should have been melted before it even got there to hit the sun. Or, second of all, why would we even be able to see it? Because if the sun is, they say, 109 times larger than the Earth, they say the Earth is 24,000 miles in circumference, and the sun is 109 times larger than the Earth, which would make it about 2,600,000 miles wide. Why would something the size of a football field or the size of Mount Everest even make a dent in, or make an impact on what's going on in the sun? It should barely even make an impact. Something as large as the sun. You know what I'm saying? So there is something a little wacky. They're either lying to us about the size of the sun, or they're lying to us about the size of the comets. The comets should be the size of a small planet to make the impact, or for us to be able to see them approaching the sun. That's another thing. I'm saying, how can we see something that's that small in comparison to the largest and the immensity of the sun, and making such a massive impact on the sun? unless either the comet is so much bigger, like the size of a small moon or the size of our Earth, hitting the sun, or the sun is a lot smaller than what they're telling us. Just something to think about. Just something that has gone through my mind, thinking that there's something they're not, something doesn't add up here. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I have no, you know, this kind of knowledge or even interest really that much in that knowledge. But there's some things that just that you get in your head and you go, hold on, that doesn't add up. Even for someone as simple-minded as I am in regards to these kind of scientific things. If I can figure that out, then why hasn't someone a lot smarter in these areas figured it out? Anyway, God bless. I'll talk to you later.